My name is Andy Hornby, photographer and vlogger. 17 years ago I started teaching myself photography. Today I travel the UK as a professional wedding photographer, landscape photographer and filmmaker. Learn from my experiences, my mistakes and my tips and advice. Hey and welcome to my next video. This one is a pretty good little video. It's a really easy way to change out the sky in a landscape shot. And I'm asked this all the time. I don't always do it, and to address the elephant in the room, I know there are people out there who don't like this kind of work, and that's fine. But sometimes you might want to take a really nice, you've got a nice composition, take a nice picture, and you're not overly happy with the sky. This will show you an easy way of swapping out sky, very simply, so let's get into this. First things you are going to need are the pictures you want to work on. Now here I've got a picture I took in Henley the other day. I've also got a picture of a sky that I've bought. I haven't just taken it off of Google, so please don't do that. So have them both ready, and we're going to use the quick selection tool very simply. Just hold your mouse down and just drag it across the sky, and that will select the better part of your sky. If it's a bad sky like this one, it's going to be really easy to select. There's no real definition in the clouds or anything. We'll use the quick select and mask option. And that's going to open up, and we're going to take the sliders back down to 0 so we've got no feathering at all, maybe a slight feather. And we're going to use the refine edge tool. This is a pretty good tool. You can use this with things like hair and stuff like that. If there's nothing really in the background, it will just deselect around the side of the leaves, which is really good. Use it inside the trees too, because obviously some places you can see through the trees and see the background. And this does a really good job of just refining the edges really well. Once you're happy, make sure you've got layer mask, a new layer of layer mask on, and hit the OK. And invert by holding down the Command and I button. That'll invert the mask so that the sky is demasked. So if you select the sky on the other panel and then drag it onto your canvas, it's a bit small, so we're just going to resize it. Hold down the shift key if you want to drag it across like that. If you don't want it to stay in scale in proportion, hold the shift key. They've changed that in Photoshop now. It used to be the other way around. You used to be able to just drag it and hold the shift key to keep the proportion, but now it's the other way for some strange reason. They changed it in the latest version of Photoshop. So drag this underneath our foreground layer if you like, so it becomes the background sky. And it's done a pretty good job as it is. So if all you wanted to do was swap out the sky, that's pretty much it for the tutorial. It's very simple. Within 2.5 minutes we managed to swap out the sky very simply. And if you want to stick around, I'm now going to color grade this image from start to finish. Within about 7 or 8 minutes we're going to have a fairly good looking image, because at the moment just swapping the sky out is okay, but I actually want to work on this image and get it to a point where I'm really happy with it. So let's do that. The first thing I'm always going to do with any image like this is crop it down, so we'll use the quick crop function. Let's drag this up and we'll get somewhere with the horizon on the lower rule of thirds there. We've got more sky than ground if you like. And then we need to make sure that the foreground image is selected and not the mask, so we can use the camera raw filter on this image. Now don't forget the sky won't be in there. This is actually working on the original image. Just get the exposure however you feel is good for your image. Your image might be different to this one, so just go ahead and mess around with all the sliders and get your image to a point where just the exposure. Don't worry about anything else at the moment. We'll deal with the sort of local adjustments later. We just want to get the exposure set in this image from here. And yeah, the sky our new sky is very vibrant, so we're going to just increase the vibrancy. Here we're also going to mess with the sliders on the curves. Various different sliders are going to give you a different thing. It's going to affect your exposure, but it's also going to affect the colour as well. So if you go into the individual tabs, bring the blues down, we'll introduce a little bit of yellows in the highlights, and bring the blues up in the shadows. We're going to introduce a bit of blues in the shadows. That's kind of the effect we're after. In the red tab, we're going to bring down, maybe bring up the red slightly. Bring it up in the mid-tones too. And the green tab, just going to bring the green down. It's going to add a little bit of magenta. I like a bit of magenta in my images. And bring up a bit of the greens in the shadows. So once you're okay with that, hit OK. That's pretty much our basic adjustments done, and our initial colour grading, if you like. So if you duplicate the sky layer, we're actually going to turn this upside down. We're actually going to create some reflections in the water, because we've got water there. I wouldn't normally do this if there wasn't any water, there'd be no need. But if you hit transform and flip vertical, this is going to turn upside down. I'm going to drag it down just a little way. Try and marry up the reflection with the horizon line, if you like. Bring down the fill so it doesn't fill the whole of the reflection isn't there, so we just almost take it down. We're going to squish it up a little bit. Reflections often look a little bit squished. Okay. And now give it a mask. Now what we're going to do here is just use the gradient filter just to mask that line out on the horizon there. So bring it down a few times. That's going to just bring the mask out a little bit. And if you hit double click on the right hand side of the layer, we're going to just open up the layer there. That bottom tab there is just taken away from the shadows of the underlying layer, and you want to split those two up so we've got a gradient in the filter, if you like. If you look, that's doing a really good job just to keep the reflection, if you like, in the highlights. The shadows aren't affected. Might be worth rewinding that bit and just doing that bit again if you didn't see. I did that really quick. So now I've hit Command Shift Option and E. We created a layer right on the top. I'm going to go back into our camera raw filter and do some more refined adjustments to the local areas. So let's add a little bit of split toning, some yellows in the highlights, not too much, a little bit, and into the blues in the shadows. Add a little bit of blues in the shadows. Then we're going to go to our radial filter. Add a nice big radial filter just there. We're going to create a little bit of a sun, if you like, an artificial sun. Go to the luminance masking, and we want to hold down the shift and bring the slider from left to right, and that is just going to take out the dark areas of the areas that aren't affected by this filter now. Again, if I'm going too quick, stop this video, go back and watch it again. We're going to add a new one, a smaller one, just in a similar kind of area, if you like, and this one is going to be a little bit brighter. Again, the luminance mask is back on. Bring that from left to right. That's not going to affect the foreground. It's only going to affect the sky. And bring the slider right up. Now I'm actually going to go back to the larger one in a second, and I'm actually going to duplicate that by holding down Option and Command. Let's do that now. Option, Command, drag that down. That creates the second one over the water. Now I need to bring up the highlights in this a little bit, introduce more yellows, try and match a little bit of the sky if you can. And now we're going to go to the gradient filter. That's actually added the same filter effects as what we just used, so we just turn them off. And we actually want to increase decrease the exposure. Use a dehaze tool if you can. Dehaze tool is very, very useful. Not used often enough, in my own opinion, and it will do a really good job of adding some contrast as well. Bring that right in, and you see the effect is only added gradually throughout the entire image. And if I drag in another area, it's going to add a similar one just on the other side there, using the same effects. It's kind of going to be drawing the eye, and it's adding an artificial vignette as we speak without doing much work at all, and it's going to draw the eye into the area where we've created that new fake sun, if you like. Okay, just a few more little adjustments in the global adjustments. Just get it back to where you think it's going to be best. You know, every image is going to be different, so this is probably not going to be the same as your image. Just get it to where you want it, and then click OK. And then the last thing I like to do is actually add a color lookup. So if you go to color lookup, and the one I generally use for these kind of images, if I want to create the effect of sort of a sunset, if you like, is the crisp warm look. Add that. You see it's too much, just bring down the fill right down to 0, and then bring it back up to where you think it's best. And that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this one. Leave me a comment down below, and we'll see you in another video. Still here, nice. It's good that you're still here, because I want to tell you a little something. Those people who are avid followers of me, I want to give a little something back, and to do that it means working alongside you online, because a lot of you can't make it to my workshops. So I've just set up a Patreon account. It is patreon.com/Andy Hornby Photos. So Patreon is a platform where we can create stuff together, even if you're halfway across the globe, and I can learn and teach alongside you, literally alongside you. There's so many things I can do to help you get your photography just to that next level. It is awesome. If you can make it to one of my workshops, I've got a website. Go to ahphotographyworkshops.uk and have a look, see what I've got going on. But if you can't make it to one of my workshops, Patreon is a really good platform where we can create stuff together and we can take your photography to another level. So if you like what I'm doing and you want me to learn alongside yourself, see you there. Take it easy, have a good day. Bye.